Virgo. Here's your reading, Virgo, for January 2020. Damn, we made it. Okay, we are here. We are pumping. We are still alive. And thank God that we woke up and we are here and present. All right, Virgo, welcome if you are new to the channel, to Intuitive Perceptions here. And if you are returning back here to the channel, what up, though? All right, Virgo. So let's just hop right here into your reading here, Virgo. I want to open up your reading here, Virgo, for this month with the question of like, what's expectation, Virgo? What's the root of it? Why are we as humans, why do we have an attachment to expectation, which expectation is an attachment and an attachment is expectation? Okay, this is going to be a very interesting reading for you here, Virgo, for this month. Why do we place expectation on things or on situations, on circumstances, on anything? You know, Virgo, we usually place an expectation on something when there is an element of like of the unknown, or there's an element of like, I just got confusion right now as well. How interesting. But here it's an element of the unknown, or an element of like inexperience, if you want to call it that. But when we place expectation on things, Virgo, you know, it's it's kind of stating in a sense subconsciously, Virgo, for us, like we hope that it happens in XYZ manner, or that it needs to happen like this or like that, or what basically, Virgo, what I'm trying to say here is when we expect things to go a certain way, one, we kind of limit that situation, we limit the outcome, we limit ourselves, we limit our perspective, we also limit our optimism regarding how we view the situation, right? Now, in me saying that too, Virgo, um, expectation goes a long way in terms of it's like programmed into us. Like for instance, Virgo, what do you expect of yourself in a sense here? Okay, interesting. My guidance is wanting me to kind of maybe separate having an expectation, or I just heard, picked up right now, Virgo, projecting an expectation and maybe setting like a benchmark. Okay, there's nothing wrong, and quote unquote wrong. There's no wrong, there's no right, there's perspective, right? Anyway, Virgo, there's nothing harmful in a sense for setting a benchmark on something, or having a benchmark, having like somewhat, I want to say a standard, if you want to call it that, what's more of like a moral, of something. So setting a benchmark is cool, and that's fine. Also to having and setting healthy benchmarks also, Virgo, is representative of our self-worth, and it's also representative of our boundary lines. So all of that is great, and it's like healthy spiritually. But Virgo, when we project expectation on something, like I said, has a lot to do with the unknown. But what do you expect of yourself, Virgo? If there is anything of expectation of yourself, what do other people, do they place expectation on you? Oh, interesting, Virgo. Or do you subconsciously expect that other people will place expectations on you? Interesting, Virgo. I want to bring this back, Virgo, to like maybe your childhood. Like, what expectations did you maybe have of your parents that maybe you didn't quite get or obtain, or wasn't in your development? Because why I'm saying all this, Virgo, is because there's something that needs to be looked at this month, or needs to be changed regarding like I just heard it's a long time coming, Virgo. So it's like something needs to be changed, and it's, I feel like it's very subconscious for you, or it's just kind of like I'm getting like it's in the midst. Hmm, it's in the midst, but at the same time, it's like in the far distance as well, where like in the abyss, where it's like you may be finding yourself, Virgo, coming back to like a point of origin that may seem to be like hmm, that may seem to be, or feel like the demise of your mental sphere, whatever that may be. But it all comes back to Virgo, like expectation, you know. Also, to I'm getting here, Virgo, from your spread here and just what's coming through for you psychically and intuitively here, Virgo. It's like, you know, what expectations maybe do you possibly have regarding like gender roles? What does, in your perspective or through your expectation, does a male do? What does a female do? What is the male and female roles within the family unit? I feel like these situations, or a lot of this is going to come up for you this month regarding like not placing expectation, Virgo, on ourselves and other people, places, things, because it's like because of a gender, or because of a, let's not place expectation on really anything, but placing that expectation, Virgo, on like a pre-existing condition or a pre-existing element. I hope that makes sense, Virgo, how it's kind of coming out here for you. Because it's like this, Virgo, you know, if we place expectation even on ourselves or other people, places, and things regarding gender, that is very limiting in itself as well. You know, and also too, when we place expectation on things, Virgo, especially on people and gender, it also kind of it creates like, it prevents that person from taking responsibility in terms of emotionally for situations and circumstances that may come up. It limits them or yourself, you know, from transcendence and from learning about yourself, or them learning about their self regarding like resonance and inner resonance. I hope this makes sense, Virgo, like it's how it's kind of coming out here. But ultimately, Virgo, there's big change coming up for you. But there's, like I said, this element, Virgo, of feeling like, you know, you're moving forward and you can sense it. You're picking it up. You know you are, just, you know, through your reality showing that, right? That you are changing, things are coming. It's moving forward. But I feel like you find yourself like coming, like I said, coming back to like a certain mindset, or like a certain you can't reach a milestone, or like your milestones are not appreciated by you or from you. Very interesting. Which also kind of goes back to the idea, Virgo, of like expectation, right? Where it's like, do we expect that we will reach a certain milestone within a certain amount of time, which then limits our potential and limits our belief system, limits our optimism, and just the whole entire situation in general. Where then, if we place expectation, once again, it limits us and it limits our perspective, which then means that then we just service ourselves regarding looking outside the box, or looking at different scenarios or situations that could possibly be of benefit to us within the near future, or whatever you are, you know, working on this month, Virgo. Because I do see the optimism here within your spread with the full card here, absolutely. But it's very interesting how, you know, with the imagery, is that little boy or little girl? Looks like a little boy is very androgynous. Anyway, is leaping away from the Ace of Wands reversed. There's also something coming through, Virgo, regarding like defeatism, like, and having that mindset of like feeling defeated before you even begin something. Interesting, Virgo. This song by Adele is coming through. It's called that's right, Virgo. It's called it's by Adele. It's called "Love in the Dark," where it's very interesting because she states something in that song that's very profound. It's coming through right now for you, Virgo, where it's like she says, "You mustn't underestimate that when you are in doubt." But I don't want to carry on like everything is fine. The longer we ignore it, all the more we will fight. There is so much space between us, and maybe we are already defeated. That just is coming through, Virgo, where like that defeatism is, I think, present here within like your mental sphere, where it's like the expectation that we maybe can't do something, or it is out of our it's out of our reach in a sense before we even see the result of it, or before we even begin something, right? Which then goes back to expectation, Virgo, like. And also, interesting, what's coming through too, it's like coming or going back to your January, I'm sorry, your December reading for 2019, where we talked about like perfectionism, how it's, misunderstood regarding Virgo's not trying to be perfect. Virgo's trying to get back to purity. But down here in the 3D, we tend to interpret or perceive purity as being perfect, but they're actually the complete opposite, where purity, excuse me, Virgo, where purity has nothing to do with perfection. We only see it as, or we perceive it as perfection because, we perceive that things are wrong with us, right? The comparison. But anyway, what I'm trying to say here, Virgo, is down here in the 3D, we perceive purity as perfection, but really it's the opposite, where purity is authenticity, where it's no expectation is placed on it, because expectation and purity are two whole different situations, or two whole they are two entirely different entities, just in themselves. So yeah, Virgo, I just feel like this month there's going to be a lot here for you regarding like looking at situations from a different perspective, looking at situations for what they are, and allow them to be organic, and allow life and source and God, in a sense, here to allow things just to play out the way that they do. Because when we have that expectation for going anything, it's interesting, Virgo. When we place that expectation to, like here, like on a philosophical point, I'm looking at this, or what's coming through, Virgo. It's like when we place expectations on things, we're kind of in a sense telling like God, like he doesn't know what he's doing. So we have a reason to be worried. That kind of makes sense here. Very interesting, Virgo, but definitely change is coming. It's here, it's here, but try not, Virgo, to sabotage the blessings that are being presented to you, and that are in the midst, and that are in reach, by placing expectations on things that probably won't happen, that probably never will happen, and that all are like figments of your imagination, Virgo. All right, Virgo, that's what I'm getting for you here for January 2020. If you'd like to book a reading here, Virgo, for yourself, a personal reading, go ahead and visit intuitiveperceptions.com for all of your booking and services needs. You can also contact me and get a hold of me on Facebook Messenger, or email intuitiveperceptions@gmail.com, or just visiting the website. Anyway, all of that fun stuff and more information upon that is in the description box below. All right, Virgo, we will see you next month. And as always, God bless and love and light.